Hi, this is Molly with Robert and Molly Bees. Welcome to my YouTube channel. This video is going to give all the information I can think of about shipping. When I first started painting furniture, I knew I would need to ship it if I was going to be painting like I do. My style's pretty unique and there are not that many people that like this kind of furniture, so I knew I would need to be able to ship it around the United States. I also knew that this would help me quite a bit with being able to sell my furniture. I am not just narrowed into my geographic location, so it's really helpful to be able to do. First, you're going to go to Uship and click on the Get a Free Estimate button. That is going to take you to a categories page where you're going to click on the washing machine for furniture and household items, and then you will click on the chair for furniture categories. Next, you're going to fill out your item description. I put in here that I'm shipping a vanity. I put the dimensions, and I added the weight. There's always a lot of questions about weight. You do not have to get too hung up on it. It is not, just guess. I mean, don't put that it's 20 pounds when you know full well and good that it's like over 100. That might get you into some trouble. But like, I know how much I can lift, and so I just guess based on how heavy the piece is. I do use my exact dimensions. That's easy to find out. You just go measure your piece. But even that can be an estimate, to be honest with you. I put in two wildly different dimensions on this specific piece just to see, and it didn't change the price. Next, you're going to fill out where it's coming from to where it's going. You can do the city and state or just the zip code, and then you're going to click continue. That is going to take you to a page that shows the lowest amount paid for this trip to the highest amount paid for this trip and the average price paid, correlating with least likely and most likely to book. Now here's where I made my very first mistake when I very first tried to ship something. I went straight to create a listing, which I'm going to do in this video to show you, and then we'll go back and I'll show you what you should do. So right under this little bar is the green button, create a listing. I would not recommend doing that. What hitting this button does is it just throws the job out there for people to throw prices at you, and that becomes annoying. So if you named your price, which I'll show you a little bit later in the video, it will still take you to this screen. Here you're going to fill out when it can be picked up and give a range of dates. I always just do 2 weeks from the day that I'm listing the post to 2 weeks from then. Next, you're going to be listing the dates at which it can be received, and I almost always put the same 2 weeks that I put in for pickup. If your client can't receive the piece of furniture in like a month, then this is where you would change those dates. I always check blanket wrapped. That's what we're talking about. It's going to be wrapped in moving blankets and saran wrapped if you want, and that's saran wrapped if you want to do it. Don't pick the freight option. Next, I'm going to upload some photos. I usually put 4 or 5 photos of the piece kind of all the way around, different angles. In this particular piece, it has those delicate flowers. I wanted to be sure to show all of the details so that whoever it was that was picking up knows it's not just a normal boring piece of furniture. It's not a big deal if it gets a dent. It's going to be something that they have to be careful with. Once your photos are uploaded, you add an item description. In this particular item description, I added that the vanity had a detachable mirror and a stool that would be going along with it. I did this as opposed to adding a second and third listing because that would just be a lot more money, and they're not that big. They go with the piece, and I don't know if this is how you're supposed to do it, but I've done this a couple times and it's never been a problem. I add the dimensions of the mirror. If your mirror is super heavy, I would add the weight there, or whatever. If it's an extra piece that's heavy, just be informative. You don't want them to show up and be surprised at what you're giving them to ship or pick up. I also added in my description that there will be somebody here to help load if needed, and I ask my client before I ship, is there going to be somebody at the place of residence that can help load as well? Sometimes I'm selling to older people and they might be there, but they might not be able to, pick up heavy furniture. So either they can arrange for somebody to be there if it's a really big piece, or the person that's picking up needs to know they might need to be 2 people, something like that. The gentleman that I ended up hiring for this job says that he has people in every city that he can call on to help if he needs help with bigger pieces. So they have that figured out too somewhat. I also add in here if there are stairs here or at the delivery place. I ask my client that if is it a flight of stairs that's going to need to go up. The more information you have for the person that's going to be doing the job, the better. And this information will help you build a rapport if you can maintain a relationship after you use Uship, which I will explain in a few minutes. Then you're going to click Create a Listing. Now, if you did not name your quote, you will be creating a job for other people to just send you, oh, I'll do it for $500. I'll do it for $600. What's your budget? I get that question a lot. I only ever accidentally do this, like get an estimate as opposed to name my own price. You will always get quotes higher than what you even really want to pay. So I don't ever actually use this method. I always use the name your own price method. Once you've accepted a bid from a shipper, that is when Uship will release their information where you can contact them. They will give you their number, their email. You call them or they will call you. That's also when Uship will release your information to the shipper. Once you have that information, it is perfectly acceptable to keep their phone number and call them directly. You may be able to set up shipping with them at a lower price because Uship charges taxes and shipping fees, and they charge for insurance, and I'll get into that in just a minute. Once you've been doing this for a while, you may have certain guys that go to certain places and you can just call them. Once you've created your listing, either through Get a Quote or Name Your Price, this is what it will look like. It'll show you the route. It'll give you a little bit of information. And this is basically what the shipper has access to that can see the job. This shipping the quote was accepted very quickly within 24 hours. My last piece of furniture I shipped, it was accepted within a couple of hours and picked up later that day, to be honest with you. Now this vanity, I did list my price at $275, and the process of naming your price is almost exactly the same. I will highlight when it is actually different. But I want to take a minute to explain. I listed my price at $275, and I ended up having to charge my client $400 total for the shipping job. Uship charges a service fee. It's about $25 to $30, and then they also charge for insurance. You don't have to pay for the insurance, but I always do because you don't know the person picking up the piece and you haven't met them yet, and it's just usually a better idea. For this piece, naming my price at $275, the total for just Uship came out to $365. Because I wrap all of my own pieces, I charged my client $400 because I had to buy moving blankets to wrap up her furniture. You do not have to wrap your own furniture if you don't want to, but I highly recommend it. Here is the big difference. This is where you want to name your price. You scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page and fill in the amount and click Name Your Price. Clicking the Name Your Price button will then take you to the timeline, the photos, the description, all of that. So I did get an acceptance of my quote of $275 from another shipper, but they had 0 shipments with Uship. They had no reviews. They didn't have any information in their bio, and I really wasn't terribly comfortable using them because they didn't have anywhere for me to do any kind of research or reference or anything. So I declined that offer, and then Brad from Covered Wagon Shipping accepted my bid, and I went with him because he had 106 5-star reviews. The only 1-star review he had was a cancellation that he had to make, and there was a little bit of a story behind that. He had told the person he could pick it up like that day, and the person never replied until the next day, and so he gave him a 1-star review, which is malarkey. Once my bid was accepted, Brad got in touch with me, and he let me know about what time of the week next week he would show up. And today he came with his little dog, Toby-Wan Kenobi. He's cute, little guard dog. So this is Brad. I did get permission to film him while we were loading up the trailer. Some guys show up in a moving van. Some guys show up in a cargo van. Brad happened to have a trailer that he hauls. Immediately after accepting my bid, Brad let me know that he had a website where he updates where he is on his route, and you can see where he has a pickup, he has a delivery, and where his stuff is completed, and it let me know about when he was getting to me. He had said that he would be to me around Wednesday. It ended up not being until Saturday, and that was perfectly fine. I could see all of that on his website with his route. This is what his website looks like. I will post a link in the description below. I hope all of this information was helpful. If you have any questions, please feel free to message me. I'm happy to help however I can. Shipping furniture does not have to be scary, and it's really quite easy once you get used to it. All right, thanks. Bye.